Hello, good people, thank you for joining this talk about ideas, methods and tools for open source software good governance assessment. Since this situation is quite new for most of us, I'm going to introduce myself quickly. So my name is Boris Baldassari. I live in Dijon, in France, where this talk is recorded. I work as a software engineering consultant for Castelia Solutions, and I've been working in the field of software development methods and tools for more than 15 years now. I had the opportunity to work on several software quality and maturity assessment projects, including the Baldassari Maturity Assessment Initiative for the Eclipse Foundation 5 years ago, and also a couple of research projects like Mescal or CrossMiner. In this presentation, we will discuss good governance for open source software projects, and what it means in our context, from OSS core principles to community and process. From there we will define a set of quality attributes corresponding to the various principles of good governance, and we will organize these quality attributes into a quality model. Then we will propose an implementation of this quality model that goes from the quality attributes to the metrics that we use to assess it. And then we will conclude and give a couple of references. As an introduction, we need to set the goals of this talk. Our main goal is simply to nurture discussions on the topic, provide a couple of references. But more than that, we want to be practical. We want to propose a consistent semantic framework as a starting point for a proof of concept. We will propose simple yet effective measurements and a way to really implement them, but that needs to be improved and extended, of course. In order to achieve this, we are looking for practical solutions, even if the scope is not complete, even if we know that the measurements we do are not the best, but we want to simply start something and then improve it. In order to do that, we will also rely on existing technologies and tools that will enable us to start an immediate implementation. Our first step on this journey is to try to define what good governance is for us in this context. A good first step for a good governance definition is probably to have a look at the OSS core principles, because they are a foundation for all the OSS projects and the communities that surrounds them. The three key factors that we have identified for that in our context is, firstly, openness and transparency. Of course, the project must have all the key tools and processes publicly available. They must be also documented, easily accessible. The second key factor is ethics. At the core of the open source community, there are a set of guidelines and rules. Things like a code of conduct or the presence of an escalation procedure, which allows people to easily report toxic behavior. Things like diversity and inclusion initiatives, both at events and in the day-to-day life of the project, are factors too. Finally, a good practice of open source software project is to provide the documentation to help people adopt the product and project. Documents like a user guide, README getting started, or development guidelines like contributing file. Another major area of OSS good governance is the community, of course, because it really is what will make the project successful and sustainable. We define three major characteristics for the community of open source projects. Firstly, the diversity. We need people from different backgrounds and companies. If some company or some individual want to pull off the project, then we need the project to still be able to have commits, pull requests accepted, bugs corrected, and so on. So this really increases the sustainability of the project. And it's also a founding principle of open source software that says, given enough eyeballs, all bugs are shallow. So that really also increases the reliability of the product. Another characteristic is the activity. We need activity, because activity means that there will be more bug fixes, more evolution, more new features put into the product. Another characteristic we want to measure is the support, or responsiveness of the community regarding answers to posts and bugs, and the time to resolve feature requests, bug fixes, and so on. It's a defining criterion for participation and engagement, and it's also a defining criterion simply for the adoption of the products, the community growth, and the sustainability of the project. Now let's have a look at the processes of good governance, which is the politics and how decisions are made to drive the project to its success or failure. We want to identify three key areas regarding processes. The first one is about IP cleanliness. That's very important to our users, especially the corporate users. We want to have license checks, third-party dependencies checks, IP cleaning procedures like individual contributor agreements, things like that. Secondly, how decisions are made in the project. This one is a bit tough, because how can we tell if the process is democratic? Is it a good thing? It can be either meritocratic or it can be a benevolent dictator model. So we want to know how decisions are made, and we want to make sure that the decision-making process is transparent. Last but not least, it's about engagement, which is how we enable people to collaborate and participate in the project. This is a two-way relationship. We need to let the people in and make decisions for the project, and we also need to listen to their requests. Although there are many quality models and initiatives about product quality or process quality in the literature, not so many of them target the good governance. We have identified two groups working on this very topic. The first one, of course, is the OW2 Good Governance Working Group, which is a quite new but very active initiative to develop and promote the usage and sharing of free and open source software governance best practices. The second one is the Linux Foundation Chaos Working Group. It's an older, more mature, and very active community working on community health metrics. They have several working groups, including common metrics, diversity and inclusion, evolution, risk, and value. As of today, the debate and reflection within these groups proves to be really interesting. But the results can hardly be put at work, mainly because most metrics actually need a human assessment, judgment of things. Now that we have defined our measurement goals, we need to organize the quality attributes in a quality model and link them to our metrics. Why do we want a quality model? Well, there are several benefits to using a quality model. Firstly, it provides a common semantic framework so people can discuss it and improve on it. Secondly, it almost instantly provides direct key indicators to the user, and if someone wants to drill in some specific details, they can easily do so. Finally, it's a good way to put the model at work. By linking the quality attributes to the metrics, we can apply this assessment to a real-life software project and aggregate the measures and populate the model. It must be noted, however, that a quality model needs to be thoroughly documented from quality attributes to metrics. The goal here is to provide a semantic foundation to all users to start elaborating on the concepts and the measures and the quality attributes. Regarding the OSS core principles, what we essentially want to do is to make sure that we can easily get the information and then actually retrieve the information, which means that it is publicly available. So for the openness and transparency, we want to make sure that we have access to the tools needed to collaborate with the project. Tools like configuration management, tracking system, continuous integration, mailing lists. We also want to make sure that the various documents related to ethics and collaboration are available, things like code of conduct, escalation procedure, README, license, contributing guide, and so on. The community of an open source software project is a better known quantity, since we have a lot of metrics and tools available to extract these metrics. Tools like Grimoire Lab or Alembic, as an example. Regarding diversity, we have the number of actors involved on the various tools for the projects. Regarding the activity, we have the amount of contributions made on a specific period of time, say 3 months. And regarding the support, the number of interaction and responsiveness, time to answer on the mailing lists or bugs and so on can be used as well. The process part of the quality model, as expected, is a bit harder to assess and measure. We can check the IP cleanliness with tools like ScanCode Dependency Checker for Sology, or we can even use commercial tools like Palavida for that, and then we would reuse the results and incorporate them in the quality model, in the aggregation. The decision-making and engagement characteristics are the real tough guys here. As a first shot, we can try to see if the governance model is documented and if it's accessible. We can also check if the minutes of the meetings and committees are publicly available. For the engagement and participation of the community, we can analyze the repartition of activity and use various statistic tools to see how well the activity, the contributions are spread among the contributors. This quality model has actually been implemented in Alembic. On this picture we can see from left to right the main quality attributes, which is the project good governance maturity, subdivided into 3 main categories: OSS core, community, process. Each of these categories is then subdivided into our quality attributes: information, openness, ethics, collaboration, activity, diversity, support, intellectual property management, decisions, and engagement. Then for each of these quality attributes, we have a set of metrics that will be aggregated from the roots to the top to build up the quality model. Alembic is an open source data management platform for software development projects. For each project, we will define a set of plugins that will target the various areas and tools of the project we want to follow. For each of these tools, Alembic will create a bunch of metrics that then will be used to populate this quality model. Alembic also provides analysis and reports about the various areas and tools that it analyzes. The first draft of what a good governance report could look like is shown here. We can have a list of checks that are done on the various tools. We have a link to the various documents that have been found. We could also have tables and graphics showing how the project is mature or not regarding the good governance. Okay, let's conclude. This talk is a naive attempt to build a workable proof of concept for OSS governance assessment. Nevertheless, it works. The quality model is definitely incomplete and could obviously be enriched with new metrics, new measurement goals, new key areas of concerns, probably also better assessment tools using natural language processing and new novel technologies. We could also enrich the reports, because it's not only about providing numbers on the quality model, it's also about providing a link to the documents and providing a link to the various results that can be exploited. The result of this experience has been implemented in Alembic and is freely available online. Please check it out on https://goodgovernance.alembic.io. You can also check out the Alembic home at alembic.io. Please feel free to send any question or remark that you have. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.